Khalid
to deliver
office.
the
So
letter
one second, here.
of protest.
Okay, where are we here?
We're here to deliver the letter of protest against Iqra Khalid at her Mississauga Erin Mills office regarding her motion for Bill 103 that Mulcair presented to Parliament in the fall, and that she has seconded that motion. So we are here, Arthur Smitherman with the Canadians Constituency Party of Ontario, and Suffragettes Against Silence, SAS Canada, and we are presenting that letter to Iqra Khalid's office right now.
That's her office here. Iqra Khalid.
Hopefully I can read it.
Okay. Anybody here? Here's the legal line.
Hello there, how are you today? We'd like to deliver a letter if we could, please.
Sure. Can I just have some people?
Sure.
So this is Iqra's Erin Mills office here. Team Iqra. Over there on the wall. Do you see a picture of Iqra there?
There she is. That's the one.
Can I have you guys sit in the office in the conference room, please?
Sure.
Iqra's in Parliament today, right? Or-
She's in Ottawa, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just have one of the managers speak.
Sure, perfect, thank you. It'd be good if you could see that tame Iqra.
Do you want me-
there? Yeah. Here, so I don't get up, I don't get it to, I don't get it to Erin Mills too often.
Just like,
See the board down there, Sandra? Sandra, we need you now.
Yeah, okay.
Sure. We think that there's a lot of misunderstandings, and in fact, that there's a lot of ambiguity. So, if you don't mind too much, I'd like to read you the letter.
sure.
It's a brief letter.
Okay, it's just 300, 400 words or so. We are writing you today to bring a few of our many concerns to your attention. We speak for a large number of women in Canada and the Canadian citizenry in general. The prospects of having a motion to form a committee to investigate the prospects of amending Section 319 of the Criminal Code and/or introducing a bill and/or affirming a policy whereas the description of Islamophobia is not precise and definitive is totalitarian. We are concerned that our law enforcement officials are not doing their jobs. They have not investigated the flood of reports from Muslim leaders that report that mosques start their prayer sessions with hate speech. The evidence of this occurring is broad and substantive, but for the sake of simplicity and clarity, we refer to the testimony of Tarak Fatah to the Senate committee. And we have the link here for it. Briefly, we are looking at the prospects of legitimizing a double standard by affirming any policy, introducing any bill, or making any criminal code amendments with respect to Islamophobia. And we have another link in here from Rahil Raza as well that we think is important, and that it affirms that having freedom of speech is vital to a fully functioning democracy. We should point out that the word Islamophobia in and of itself is an oxymoron. This is due to the insinuations and or implications that a fear of Islam is irrational. We only need to look at the facts of Islam to understand that a significant portion of the entire global population are scared senseless of Islam and a growing Muslim population. So approximately 250 to 270 million people have been killed by Muslims over the course of history, up to 10 million of them approximately being Muslims. The Quran is filled with hate speech and instructs Muslims to lie and deceive the infidel and kill them wherever they find them. Lastly, there are growing concerns that our Prime Minister and the Liberal Party have forfeited our democracy to oligarchs, to non-elected institutions, to non-democratic institutions, and organizations such as the Muslim Brotherhood, and this, of course, is seditious and treasonous. Collectively, the citizenry is concerned that our God-given rights are being circumvented to accommodate the proliferation of Islamofascism. And I signed it, Arthur Smitherman. So we're not feeling that the majority of the Canadian population is appropriately represented here. And the prospects of a double standard for free speech is counter to our constitutional laws and our charter rights. Now, we know from the Iqra case that in certain circumstances, our charter rights can be voided. And we feel that Section 319 is very significant and strong as it is, because in essence, you can actually go to jail longer for hate speech than manslaughter. So we don't really know where the committee is going with their idea, but there's three areas of prime concern to the vast majority of the Canadian population. Another issue we have is with Petition 411, where the Liberal Party did affirm certain policies with regard to Islam, and we feel just on the basis of the word Islamophobia in and of itself is very ambiguous. So I must say I thank you very much for being polite and orderly, and we very much respect that and appreciate it. And we want you to know that there's certain areas of concern to Canadians, whether they're Muslim Canadians or Italian Canadians or whatever. It doesn't make any difference.
Sure.
But there needs to be one law for everybody, not one law for Muslims. And another thing I have to point out is we know that there's approximately 15% of the Muslim population that don't go to the mosques and they don't practice Ramadan. So we really don't know where they fit into the fabric of Canadian society. They believe parts of the Quran and other parts they don't. We understand, okay, particularly Sandra, who is a reformed Muslim and a Christian and has been in Saudi Arabia, that this segment of the population with a proliferating Muslim population is at danger. And we don't want this conflict brought to our shores.
Yes, where does that leave apostates such as Sandra? These are the fine lines that are being drawn here. And democracy, the cornerstone, is free speech. And that is what our forefathers fought for. It's an integral part of democracy. And we will stand very strong on that issue. And we take that as anything that seeks to threaten our free speech, we take extremely seriously.
because it's a threat to democracy. It's a threat to the welfare of the Muslim population as well. So, you know, we're just concerned that something is going to evolve that isn't in everybody's best interest.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate this, but we cannot comment being a part of Iqra's office.
We understand
We will forward it to Iqra as well as the concerned people who are dealing with this, and then we'll take it on from there.
I think the biggest challenge, you know, for lawmakers, parliamentarians, the biggest problem we have is the word itself, like Islamophobia.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, it just, the context seems to go this way and that. There's no definitive and precise term for it, and in effect, it's an ambiguous term.
Right.
It's an oxymoron in itself.
What about kafirophobia? And one of the reasons that Islam has not been able to reform and get rid of its radicalism that we always hear the Muslims are concerned about is because they are not able to speak about it, because you're not able to speak about Islam because you're seen as slandering it. So this type of law is not to the benefit of Muslims who want to work towards reforming Islam.
Who want to come to our country and contribute to it. Because we're a multicultural country in a sense that, you know, the Italians came here, the Portuguese came here, they all contributed to society, and most Canadians recognize that and appreciate that. But we feel that there's a turn that's manifesting with these ambiguous terms that's leading us down to the road of Islamofascism.
Right, because, and what about Sharia law? You know, if that's part of Islam, we're not able to discuss Sharia law.
Well,
when many people coming from the Middle East are trying to escape Sharia law.
Where
Would you
they
agree
came
with that? Would you agree with that?
I will. We're not allowed to comment on.
But you were nodding.
Yeah,
you were
so
nodding.
we
So we know the severity and of those punishments, and what I'm saying is many people have fled to Canada as a safe haven for rights and freedoms and equality under the law, and we stand as Canadians, and we represent thousands and thousands of Canadians across Canada.
Millions.
Okay, so although, you know, we did a quick meeting here because of this escalating and going to be at Parliament on February 15th at 5:30. There's also another protest. There will be protests all this week in relation to this very precarious motion, and I don't appreciate my democracy and my free speech being challenged in such a way, and we are holding all of our MPs on account of this, including Iqra.
Yeah.
Thank you. And
So-
I'd just like to add, you feel free to email your concerns as well.
Well, we will be. This letter is actually.
Thank you for this.
You're very welcome, but Iqra will also be receiving a electronic email copy of that, as well as all of the MPs across Canada will be receiving that as well. We are going to hold everyone in account to this letter.
Another area that seems to be rather ambiguous and is causing a lot of conflicts from both sides of the argument, essentially redundantly, is that most civil courts and most family courts allow memorandums of understanding to be drafted. And if both parties consent to being ruled under Sharia law, they're able to. But most Canadians don't want to see it go past that, ever. Because we feel the Muslims as well are being used by the global elitists and oligarchs and ruling elites that influence the institutions like the UN and the IMF and the World Bank. And in essence, Muslims are being used as well because they're being put into countries to undermine the common law of that particular country and knock down the borders, you know, which is non-democratic, it's constitutional. And the forfeiture of any democracy of a nation state is something that all of us need to take very seriously. So again, we thank you very kindly for
I want to add something here very quick, sir, if you don't mind. I'm Sandra Solomon. I'm one of the founders of Canadians Against Islamization, the movement. I myself am ex-Muslim. I was raised in Saudi Arabia, and I am concerned about this motion as well, and I do have the right to be concerned about it because this is considered under Sharia law, which is I lived under 100% Sharia law constitution in Saudi Arabia, and I escaped Sharia law to come to Canada to live under democratic law, secular country where everyone is treated equal and one law for everyone. And living under Sharia law, and I know the Quran, and I understand Islam very well inside out. It's not like I'm trying here to undermine people about the knowledge of Islam. I'm not the one who's saying, and I openly always calling for Dr. Iqbal Al-Nadvi, the top Imam of Canada, and also other Imams. When I listen to their khutbah, the preach, and they're openly talking about jihad, they're openly talking about child marriage, they're openly talking about the conquest, al-khilafa, the caliphate, al-futuhat al-islamiyya. When in the Quran, the apostasy penalty, it's there from the Quran. جزاء الذين يحاربون الله ورسوله إما أن يقتلوا أو يصلبوا أو تقطع أيديهم وأرجلهم من خلاف. That means whoever fight Allah and His Messenger that should be killed or crucified or cut the hands and the legs from the opposite side. These things it concern me as an apostasy as well. I cannot openly criticize Islam. I cannot openly criticize the life of Muhammad, the founder of Islam. I cannot openly speak up my mind, which is the one I escaped of Saudi Arabia and Jordan, and my family disowned me, and I cannot even go to to Jordan. I will be killed because Muhammad, the founder of Islam, he said, "Man baddala dinahu faqtuluhu," who changes religion, kill him. So we have order fatwa on me that I should be killed, and with this motion, it's gonna even make it like I came to Canada to openly speak, and I'm willingly, I always say it, in very peaceful, civilized way, I'm willing to have a discussion with the top imams in Canada to prove me wrong. I always call Dr. Iqbal Al-Nadvi Iqra Canada. I always talk about these imams who openly speaking. Why, when someone criticizing Islam considered a hate speech, like for example, Eric Brozo, and he's facing some court date coming soon about the same issue, to considered hate speech. And at the same time, if people, Muslims, criticizing the Bible, criticizing Jude, anti-Semitism is rooted against the Jews and the Christian, openly talking about it in the mosque. And we have all the evidence. We have videos of Imam openly calling for jihad, openly calling for genociding the Jews and killing them. I have all their names. I have the videos for them. We have the evidence. So I would love to see more Muslims speaking against these Imams. Against these imams who openly calling for killing the Jews and genociding them.
So if anything, what maybe our government needs is to have a kafir-phobia legislation drawn up. Maybe that's something as kafirs could work on.
Exactly.
Because this is the problem. Once you get into preferential treatment of any one group of people, then everybody's clamoring for their rights over the others. And we don't have a problem. There's nobody else having a problem. We have a problem from one community, that there are problems in this community against us.
Because again, Islam, it's a political agenda. It's not religion. It's a state. You cannot separate. Islam, Quran, it's our constitution. The Quran is their constitutional book.
You cannot. It's similar that you would kill a soldier if he left for treason, right?
Yes, exactly. That's why I'm under
faith system, right?
Yes, that's why I'm under threat.
We have many atheists in Canada, and we afford people that. We afford people from any culture to come here. They can or cannot practice, and we welcome that. Canada is a haven, and that's why our soldiers and our forefathers fought for that freedom.
Yeah.
This was not a small feat. And we stand to protect that and defend that.
Yeah,
Amen.
giving up
Yes,
any of those
amen.
rights is just as wrong for anyone, regardless of what their religious affiliation is.
Yes.
It's just as wrong for Muslims as
Separation.
it is for
Right.
any Canadian.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's
So-
one law for everyone.
Right.
One, yeah, rule of law, like not Sharia law.
Right. One law for everyone.
Yes, amen.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having us here
Amen.
today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lost the last sentence.
Will I be able to get your card, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Do you want me to record the wall there?
Yeah, we'll go down and look there.
Thank you very much.
Quickly wanted to see the board here.
This is the team. Iqra team. That's her team.
Who's this, Sandra?
I have no idea.
Here, look.
Yeah, I don't know who's this one. That's what we're looking for, Canadians. We have here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
No worries.
We'll take them off. Oh, Abby, princess, just get them under your hand.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming today here.
So we made our statement.
So, what's your message to the people who's watching you right now? What's your message to Canadian people? What they need to do?
Get motivated
Okay.
and to be as passionate about democracy and freedom of expression. Maybe you can see yourselves giving up easily what other people fought and died for, but I don't. And I encourage you all, whatever the case may be, if it's a day off work, whatever the inconvenience is, there is no inconvenience too great for what our soldiers and our forefathers fought for. Democracy is a way of life, and it needs to be protected, and we need all of you to be involved in that.
Tell us a little bit about the suffragettes.
The suffragettes are the women, the true women's movement, not what we call nowadays the femi-lefts, who have hijacked the movement and are endorsing Islamofascism. The suffragettes were women who fought tirelessly for 70 years for women's rights and the right to vote. And they paved the way. A lot of young women, they think they just take for granted that all these rights are here. But, every generation has to fight for democracy. It's not an inherited issue. And the suffragettes were also patriots, and they dropped their movement when war was at the doorstep, World War I, and they fought alongside their men. And as a result of that unity, because unity is all of our strength, it is not diversity, it is unity.
How the people can reach you? Like
They can visit us online. We have Suffragettes Against Silence. We'll be launching a website shortly. And I encourage everyone to get involved with a patriotic group. I don't think you have to look too far anymore. People are very concerned about these issues, and we are going to protect our way of life.
Amen. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, everyone. This is encouraging for everyone not to be afraid. Nothing can stop us. Right then, if you have any letter, anything you want to deliver it, you can do whatever what we did today. You can come to the office, deliver your letter, talk to them, pass it to them. you have all the freedom to speak up your mind, to defend your home country. Thank you. Keep exposing Islam. More to come.